Good evening, everyone. I'm Dr. Melanie Heyworth. I'm a late diagnosed autistic woman. I'm a mother to 3 autistic children. I'm an autism researcher, so I'm currently working towards my second PhD, as well as being a co-researcher and collaborator on projects that pertain to autistic people with diverse, complex communication and support needs across the lifespan, including as the co-chair of the Australasian Autism Research Council. And finally, I'm the founder and CEO of Reframing Autism, which is an autistic-led charity. We provide education and resources to the autistic community and to our families and allies, and we're globally recognised as a thought leader fostering autistic wellbeing across domains and across the lifespan. I also come to you tonight as a grateful guest on the land of the Burpai people in the Gathang language region. Most autistic people are going to access formal supports at some point in their lives. Usually we're going to have reason to be supported by any number of allied health professionals, including occupational therapists, speech language pathologists, psychologists, but as well as medical professionals, including psychiatrists and paediatricians for our autistic children. But not all service providers will be beneficial to the autistic population. It isn't said often enough that the service providers who provide our care have a significant impact on our overall wellbeing, not just through the specific service or support with which they provide us, but in their approach to who we are and how and why they will provide that service or support to us. Very broadly, service providers can adopt 2 approaches. One is to pathologise autistic needs, to see us as broken, deficient, damaged, impaired, and in need of fixing. These service providers see our organic and authentically autistic ways of socialising, communicating, thinking and processing as aberrant, disordered, diseased and in need of treatment. The other approach is unfortunately a much rarer approach and is called neuroaffirming, where supports and services are provided in a way that affirms autism as a valid and valuable neurotype and identity and adopts a genuinely strength-based approach grounded in a deep knowledge of autism, a respect for autistic experiences, a presumption of competence and a commitment to an ethics of care. Most service providers come to their work with the best interests of their clients, autistic or not, at heart. The issue then is not intention, but what constitutes what is best for the autistic community. But what happens when a service provider is convinced that it is in the best interest of the autistic person to teach them explicitly or implicitly to perform non-autistically? The message that we are given is that our autistic way of being is not acceptable, desirable, or preferable, and that the only acceptable, desirable way of being in the world is non-autistic, that we are not okay, we're not welcomed, we do not belong as we are. There are specific dangers associated with this approach. Importantly, supports that are designed to make autistic people seem less autistic or perform less autistically, by their very nature, teach us to mask or camouflage our autistic ways of being. Research into autistic masking is burgeoning and suggests that autistic masking is associated with increased incidences of depression, anxiety, and suicidality. Burying who we are organically has tremendous detrimental mental health implications. But we also know that demonising autism or eschewing autistic ways of being and processing and communicating creates an internalised narrative of ableism, brokenness and deficit. And research shows that this internalised narrative lives with autistic people across our lifespans and contributes to our feelings of worthlessness and our experiences, or not, of mental health, our whole lives. So we need supports that promote autistic wellbeing as their overall goal. We need service providers who will help us to be authentic in this world and to be kind to ourselves, not vilify ourselves. We need supports and services that affirm who we are and how we are in the world, that welcome us to be autistic while not denying the challenges of being authentically autistic in a predominantly non-autistic world. Research shows that autistic wellbeing is associated with self-compassion, self-acceptance, and acceptance of our autistic selves from others. The more we embrace a neurodiversity perspective and celebrate our autistic identity, the better our mental health. It is not the only conduit to mental health, but it is a vital one. And service providers are at the coalface of creating our internal voice as one of acceptance or loathing. Research is telling us that autistic suicidality and depression are linked to masking, So service providers practice a duty of care when they actively refuse to teach autistic people to mask. Research shows that we are stigmatised by the language people use about us. So service providers who utilise identity-first language, for example, or don't use pathologised deficits-based language, actively work to show us that we are included and celebrated. This is how the people who support us can shape our mental health and well-being. Together, now we have an opportunity, an unprecedented one, to listen to autistic voices who are backed up by robust research, calling for neuroaffirming service providers. You have the opportunity to fund, to support, to encourage, to promote, to celebrate neuroaffirming service providers, to invest in growing more such providers, because in the end, the benefits, individual, economic, social, are immense when we as autistic people are supported into mental health, not driven to mental illness. Thank you.